Well, hello.
Hey,
What's going on, everyone?
how's it
We are back.
going?
We are back with another week of wedding business growth. Frank, how the heck have you been, man?
Man, not too bad. I had my first wedding this weekend, and I've been trying to let my hair grow out, right? People don't see this part, the back there part, you
Party in
know?
the back.
I got like the
Yes,
little,
sir.
well, now I'm torn because it didn't get long enough for me to like do anything back there with it. So I'm like, okay, now do I just go back to like the old hairstyle? Do I like just get the sides faded and like the back
Yeah,
faded and just have nice long on top? I don't know, man. I'm undecided.
you got to decide, man. I mean, I'm definitely wanting to grow it out before I can't because I can see that receding hairline coming in. So I think I'm going to do it, man. I got to do it once before I die, man. I got
Look
to
at
do it
that.
once
Like,
before I
that was not like that
die. We can match,
15 years
man.
ago.
We can match. Oh
Uh,
man, it's great. No, it's great that everyone's getting back to work and doing weddings again. I'm super stoked for that. I had a busy weekend myself. David's not here tonight, in case you didn't notice. We're rocking this show, just Frank and I. We got a great guest tonight. He's actually working an event, um, yeah, a fun corporate event, I think. So
yeah. And to be honest, it would probably end up being 30, 45 minutes of like Major League Baseball talk if he was here today, since we just got the news that the lockout will continue. So yeah, be thankful that David's not here, or else
do fill
maybe
me
it would
in.
just be.
Actually, I'm not a baseball fan. What's going on?
Yeah, so I mean the owners locked out the players 3 months ago. They didn't really talk for a while because it was the end of their collective bargaining agreement. They didn't talk for a while. Anyway, fast forward to the last like 10 days, they finally all got in a room or separate rooms, but in the same building. Started talking, arbitrating, trying to get things worked out. Long story short, there was a deadline of midnight last night. They didn't hit it. They extended it to 5 p.m. today and didn't hit it. So now we're going to lose basically the first week of baseball for sure, possibly more. And yeah, it sucks because I'm like my Mets. I was feeling good about my Mets. I say that every year at
Yes.
this time of the year, but I was feeling good with Scherzer and some new players, and yeah, here
Yeah.
we are. So
Uh,
yeah, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate, right? Lots of rich people kind of making all those decisions together, and the people that get hurt are, the fans, the people who
mhm.
work at these stadiums. You think about
Yeah.
like the restaurants and bars that like are only stadium restaurants and bars,
Yep.
and they're just shut down until further notice if there's nothing going on there. So lots of
Yep.
people impacted by this, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully soon.
And the players too, man. I mean, it's not fun. Oh, we got Jay Hall on. Let's get these. Jay Hall
Uh,
is saying, "Oh, crying emoji." Joe Dirt.
oh, yeah, Joe Dirt. That's
I
right.
don't know what that means.
That's the movie. With it's a movie with David Spade, I think, playing like this dude with
What's
a
the name?
nice long like mullet.
Oh,
So
that's
he's
it.
just picking
Okay,
on me.
cool. Are
Yeah,
you going mullet?
I'll
Is that the move?
that is not the move, but my kids think it's hilarious, and I'm glad the beard's back too because the mustache thing was like,
It was a good
it
look.
was.
I
I mean,
enjoyed
I
it.
thought so. My wife did not, but yeah. So here we are.
Good stuff. We got a
Yeah.
great guest tonight. We're gonna bring her on. We're talking all about branding and branding is versus marketing, but we're gonna talk about both. Essentially, why you should be doing it. Um, if you're not doing it, maybe some strategies to help you out. It's super important. I know I was really, really bad with marketing for a long time, and I noticed that when I started putting some money into it and kind of letting go of those resources, that it came back to me like tenfold. So I'd love to get into it and bring her on right now. So we got Jackie on right now. We're going to bring her in. What's going on,
Hello.
Jackie?
So
Hey.
excited to be here, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. We got some great conversation tonight because I know a lot of people in the industry struggle with branding and marketing
Yeah.
and everything regarding kind of getting your name out there, getting your presence, out in front of people. So maybe before we get started, just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your experience.
Sure. Well, my name is Jackie Watson. I am, hi, Jay. One of my biggest fans is here. I am a luxury wedding planner and I absolutely love what I do, but I've been in this for, gosh, over a decade now. And I have come to learn many things about this industry, but we primarily work with luxury clientele, and now I'm getting into venue consulting and marketing and everything else. So it all plays hand in hand.
Very cool.
That's awesome. I was reading your bio just a little bit ago, and I also saw you came from a performing arts background? You gotta tell us.
Yeah, everybody says that. I try to leave it out, but I actually was a juggler at one point and performed for President Clinton with my sister. Little tiny fun fact. My sister did the yo-yos, and she's still one of the best yo-yoists there are in the world. But I did everything from juggling machetes and torches and clubs and passing. I did it all. That was a prior life, but it's also what helped get me into this business, because I had that performing arts background, that design background. So I missed it just a little bit, but I love the wedding business even more.
Well, I mean, that is awesome. Like, I would have never known that, and to know like swords or not swords, but like knives and stuff. That's awesome.
Yep, that's me.
Look, and Jay gave us a little shocked face there too.
Yeah, I don't think even Jay knew. I don't tell a lot of people.
I would have never known.
You have told the whole world, or the wedding business growth world now.
Who was it that I just told? Oh my gosh. Oh, it was Kathleen from Cater Source, because I'm speaking at Cater Source this year. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you have to go, because I'm speaking on this topic and a couple others. And I was telling her the same thing, and she was like, what?
Maybe they're going to have you perform to kick off your...
I hope not. Moons ago.
Very cool.
I know how that goes. I feel like the same thing with guitar. So,
well, fun fact, I do have a friend who actually juggles in the circus, so I think that's super cool. Yeah.
I try.
Yeah. So cool.
I juggle balls at the house with the kids for like cool. 5 seconds, and then I drop them.
Yeah, I can't juggle to save my life, but
it's great. It's great for dexterity. Got to keep it up.
I got to do some extra. I saw this on TikTok, like hitting your pinky.
No, I can't do that.
Trying to keep it going. So talking about, to get into it, let's jump right into branding versus marketing. Let's talk about maybe the difference between the two. I know that to me, it almost is synonymous, like they're the same. Mm-hmm. They're not, though.
Yeah, and that's the big key, that everybody, kind of thinks that they're the same, and they're two completely different ball games. And the thing with branding is you have to remember the branding is who you are, whereas the marketing, that's the strategy behind it. That's like the nitty gritty of how to get yourself out there. And a lot of people put them together thinking that they're the same thing, and then consequently one of them doesn't end up jiving very well, and then they don't get their name out there, or their name's out there in a wrong way. But it definitely is something that I am passionate about. And I know with branding, for me, it's about defining who you are and telling that world who you are. And then the marketing element of it, is getting it out there in different methods.
Interesting. Okay. So your branding's the story, marketing's how you get it out there.
Branding is your story, marketing is how you get it out there. And a lot of people, it helps a lot of people to think of it in this way. Branding is about your colors. It's about your logo. It's about all those different assets. And the marketing is where you're going to put it. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Almost like, as the kids would say today, your vibe.
That is very cool.
So current, Nick. So current.
Thank you.
And I also apologize. I don't know if you can hear them. I have beagles going off in the background. They are my precious babies, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about them. But they are 3 beagles. They're Cooper Smith, Nomad Aaron, and Bailey Ann. And Bailey Ann is a princess through and through. Yeah. But they are my pride and joy, and I love them dearly. And I know they're howling up there because they think their father's on his way home. So
they're getting geared up.
They're getting geared up. It's a full-on howl fest.
I love it. I didn't even hear it until like.
Oh, good. I'm glad. That's all I know. Because they're pretty loud to me.
Oh, good stuff.
So, all right. So with branding, I think the thing that people don't understand about it is give some tips if you can about how you identify your brand. How do
Yeah,
you identify those
absolutely.
things?
Absolutely. So I think with branding, it's all about how you want your customer to feel, how you want your customer to see you. And one of the best ways to think about branding is the five senses. What are the five senses? Sight, smell, hearing, taste, So how are you putting those five senses out there? Because that's what's going to attract the client. How are you making sure that you're showing up and being authentic to who you are and not copying everybody else, and really putting out there the vibe and the feel that you want? And it's not just, visually, it's verbally, it's emotionally, it's everything. That's what a brand is. And one of the things that I love about branding the most is that your brand can constantly change and evolve. Every year I am updating my website with new photos, with different color palettes, with all the things that are me, because I grow as a human, every day. I learn new things every day. So if I didn't update that and I stayed stale and old and, not doing what is trending today, I wouldn't have the business that I do. But because I stay relevant with my branding, I'm able to be successful.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think people quite think about like that branding, well, especially in a smaller
Yeah.
industries, like like wedding DJs, for example. I've seen wedding DJs that will have one logo that looks like they've had it for the last 20 years.
20 years. Yes. And oh my gosh, it's horrible. My biggest pet peeve, and this is part of the marketing that I'll jump into, is not having a proper business card. And I yell at people when they bring me a card that I can tear in half or fold and put it in my pocket. And my philosophy on that is, if your business card is something that can be easily thrown away, like crumpling it, tearing it, then it's not a good business card. That business card needs to be thick and luxurious. And it doesn't matter what size budget you work with. This is who you are. And why would you want to give somebody a piece of material, a paper, that can just easily be ripped? So you're going to be forgotten right then and there. They're going to stuff it in their pocket with everything else. They're going to, wash it with your jeans and, throw it out when you're at the hotel, whatever. But if you have a thicker card stock, a really good that you can't rip, you're going to be remembered. They're going to be like, oh, what's this in my pocket? And take it out and then give you a call.
Yeah, you know what? I've never thought about that because when you think business card, right, traditionally you just think regular,
Vistaprint all the
rectangular.
way.
Yeah, right. You
Absolutely.
don't think about some of the other ways. I've actually thought, what are your opinions on like the digital business cards that people are doing now?
I think that we're starting, because of the live technology that we're going to. I actually think that we are starting to go towards that a little bit more, and I like it. And it was great because last night I literally just flew in today from being in New York, and we went to a huge party, an industry party from Party Slate. It was good to be back. But that's what we were actually doing, because a lot of us didn't bring cards. It's with industry peers and we're like, we don't need a card kind of feel. But then we were just giving each other digitally, here's our email, here's our phone number, give me a call. And then we were sharing our websites. But I went to a further extent of, I actually had a photo of my business card on my page. So just like the Clear app, here's my business card. Would you like me to text it to you? And that worked really, really well. And a lot of people thought it was super fun.
That's so awesome. I love the idea of maybe texting it, because it almost kind of breaks another level of entry, like especially with other professionals in the industry, where it's like, oh, yeah, now you have my contact information. Hey, man, it was great working that event with you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I love
how
that
hard
idea.
is it? Like when we go to these industry mixers,
Hmm.
a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm an introvert. I
Yeah,
do not like being around people, because I'm around 5,000 people in the summertime doing all these
yeah,
weddings. And if I could be under my covers and my PJs in bed. That's where I would be.
Yep.
But like, so there are those things where, you know, you have to put yourself out there. And last night was a great reminder to me that I have to keep doing this, but it's that uncomfortableness when you walk into the room of how do I introduce myself? What do I give them? And creating something where you can text or send email kind of breaks that ice and allows you to have like a funny moment, but also a moment of, oh, hey, they're in my repertoire now. That's awesome. I can reach out to them and talk.
Yeah. And I think the phone number just hits harder than an Instagram handle where it's like, hey, what's your Instagram? It's like, yeah, okay, let me add you to the thousands of other people I have on there or whatever the number is. Versus a phone number, it's very intimate, very personal.
It's very intimate right off the bat. Absolutely. And same even with an email. Like if you give them your email, it still gives that sense of intimacy for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
You know, I see you see those commercials now for those little wristbands that have like a little chip inside and you just hold it up to a phone and it just ding gives you a business card or a contact.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've been thinking about it.
I still think that for me, branding is always going to be super, super intimate and a super personal thing. And what I don't want to do, and everybody's different, is make my brand feel unimportant by doing, things that aren't intimate, things that aren't family oriented. Like when people work with us, just based off of my brand, they know what I stand for within the first 5 seconds of looking at my website. And that's essentially what a brand is creating something where they don't want to call anybody else. They only want to call you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of moves into the next point about marketing too. And kind of, so we have this brand that we've established, but how are we getting it out there and how are we getting people to kind of see it in that way? Like, I've had a really hard time with it. I mean, there's basic stuff that you can do, Google ads, social media ads. I feel like almost are kind of, maybe we can get your opinion on this, but I personally haven't found as much effectiveness using social media ads just because I feel like they get just dumped on the users so much that it's just ads and people are like, oh, I don't want to see that. Like, come on, get that out of here.
And I think it's going to surprise people for me to say this, but I actually don't do Google ads. I don't do any social media ads whatsoever. I feel like it's kind of this waste of money because you're constantly having to figure out the algorithms via Facebook's, Instagram, LinkedIn, yada, yada, yada. My business, my brand comes from how I sell to people. And a lot of times, most of the time, we're direct word of mouth. That's the referral process because our marketing is so strong. But I think it's important for people when they're thinking about marketing to ask certain questions like, who are you selling to? Do you know who your ideal client is? Who is most likely to buy what you're offering? Are you going to give your card to a pizza boy that's dropping off Pizza Boy or pizza, down the road, Pizza Boy bought Pizza Boy? Or are you going to give it to someone who just, you saw in the grocery store who are picking up bridal magazines? Figure out your client. Where are they going? Where are they shopping? What are they spending their money on? Who are they going to refer you to afterwards? So those are some of my favorite key tips to thinking about how you're going to market yourself. And one of the things that I think is super important that just is not done a lot of the time is thinking about your competition, but in a friendly way. Like, there is business for everybody. There is plenty of business for all of us. And we see that right now. Like, we're all booked and there's still more coming in that we can't take. Yeah. So understanding your competitors is really important, not just knowing that they do what you do, but understanding how they work, who their clientele is, what they charge. That's all part of that marketing aspect, of that homework. The marketing is actually much more difficult than the branding part.
Yeah, it is absolutely. And it's hard sometimes to look at, your competitors in that way, where you're like, you do the same thing I do. But when you break it down in that way, it's like, look, there's enough business for everyone. Clearly, I've
Absolutely.
had to turn tons of couples away. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I have no more availability. So that in and of itself is telling you, like, look, there's plenty of stuff to go around here,
Yeah.
and beyond. But to do that research, I think, is so important. Like, go
It
on their
is so
websites.
key. When
Yeah, like,
and here the thing is, this is the one of the biggest things I think people don't realize. When you're looking at your competition, it's not just to try and be better than them. It's
yeah,
actually to find someone that you can refer. It's you don't want
absolutely.
to refer somebody that's going to do a crappy ass job, because what's going to happen? That's going to come back on you.
Yep.
So you really need to do that legwork, and it's so worth it, because you get to refer other people that will now refer you back. How cool would it be to have 3 caterers that refer each other all the time, simply because they think alike, because they
Yeah.
do things that are very similar to each other. Now it's
Yeah.
just giving your client another reason to call you if someone else isn't free.
That connection. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too about looking at your competition is if your local competition is if they give out a certain product and you know what that product is and you're
Mhm.
aware of what that product is, then you can do one of two things from that. Either you're a totally different product, even if you're in the same lane, and so you can say, okay, well, if they're marketing and speaking it this way, then I need to market and speak it this way over here. I'm not big enough on the screen, I guess, to do that, but so that allows you that opportunity to kind of figure out, well, if they're successfully speaking to this client, I want to successfully speak to this client over here. But then what it also does is it allows you, if you know that that competitor is doing something similar to you, it allows you to kind of see how they're doing it and then figure out a way to still separate yourself, because you don't want to look cookie cutter to the next person or them look cookie
Absolutely.
cutter to you.
Yep. And here's the thing. That's exactly what branding is you identifying your unique self. And I find it sometimes annoying when you get some of these new people that coming in, and don't get me wrong, the market needs new people, and it's wonderful to see all this influx. But a lot of times those new people coming in don't understand the marketing or don't understand the branding, and they start looking at all these other websites, and then they start picking it apart and taking words from all these different websites. So instead of creating something that is uniquely them, that describes who they are, describes what they want, their ethics, their values, their core, they're starting to pull from all these wonderful people that they inspire to be like, and it only hurts them. So I think that there's something to be said about, before you even get into this industry, do your market research, understand who your industry is and how you can be different, because the people who are different, the people who are unique, are the ones who are going to get hired.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
And I think people miss the difference, and maybe you can speak a little bit about this too. I think people miss the difference with keywords versus just copying phrases, right?
Yeah,
There's a big difference. There
Mhm.
are things that must look the same, but they're words. What you put around them can look different, and that's what
absolutely.
differentiates you.
Absolutely. My website has the words like wedding planner, universal language, luxury, universal language. But what a lot of others don't have is family oriented, dog lover, kayaker,
Yeah.
all those things that go around that, all those common, used phrases all the time that do separate you out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's also what builds that personal connection. So when you're
Absolutely.
talking about branding, and you're trying to let people know this, like you said, the authentic you, then
Yep.
can tell everybody a little bit about how you can mix that branding, that authentic you, in within your marketing, the way that you just kind of talked about a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being authentic is something so valuable, and clients, no matter what budget, really value your honesty and your thoughtfulness. And one of the biggest things that I can say is have a bio that speaks to you. You don't have to put accolade after accolade. Put a little bit about you that, for instance, for me, when you read my website, you'll know that I hate the winter. I want to be on the beach with my husband. You know that I am a dog lover and have 3 amazing beagles. And what I'm doing within those bios, and my both of my girls have bios too, Stephanie and Becca, that work with me. We show people who we are in a very intimate way, and it ends up taking another step by showing those potential clients, hey, I've got a little bit of something that is like and like-minded people attract like-minded people.
Yeah, and just making yourself more human too. I mean, I think a lot of the times when we're going to buy a product and service like on the internet and
Mm-hmm.
people are looking for you and finding you, it's like it's very impersonal most of the time.
Very. Yeah.
And especially for something as intimate as your wedding, I've even, contemplated, putting a video together to replace the bio. Like, hey, like here's a little here you can see me and hear me and,
And we
connect
have
with
done
me in that
that.
way. Yeah.
Yep, we've actually, and today, especially in today's world, everything is going via video.
Yeah.
Everything is digital, everything is live, everything. So it's a really great idea to have a video. And one of the things that we did that always, it's still to this day, and it was done in, gosh, I think probably 2016. We did a huge video on how we set up a wedding, a massive wedding that we had up here. And we did it from start to finish. And it still gets a lot of hits. And I'm still able to share it because it's still relevant. It's still showing what we do in a very powerful light.
Yeah.
That
Right.
that's a cool. No, I didn't know if you were going.
I saw
Sorry.
you. I saw you getting ready.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was. So it's actually funny that you say that because last year I think I actually watched a catering company who filmed a video pre-wedding just like that, and they had a video crew on site. They did fake service walks, and they had
Yep.
set the tables up way earlier than normal, not with food, but just with the
Yeah,
place settings and such.
absolutely.
And they just went through all of that, and they got there because I thought it was interesting. I got there and everything was done, and I'm like, okay, well, this is weird for me, but yeah, let's just go with it. And that's what they were doing. They were filming those videos, and so it
Yep.
was a really interesting idea. I've thought about doing that too, just kind of setting up a camera, just
And
pressing
it
record
doesn't
and just
it,
showing
it doesn't
everybody.
take long at all. I think one of the biggest marketing tips or pieces of advice that I can give is, everybody has a phone. Everybody has an iPhone, an Android, whatever. You have a video camera on it. When you are, exactly, I've got mine right here.
Yep.
When you are on an event, and it doesn't even have to be an event, it's just a life, when you're out there, but especially on an event, just take a moment and record a table setting, a beautiful floral piece, a lighting piece, and that can easily go on your Instagram or on your TikTok or on your Facebook. So it really, for me, the video aspect is very important. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of the old dogs. I am just learning about
Yeah.
video, and my girls Stephanie and Becca are teaching me it. And Becca especially right now, she's very much into social media and does all of our social media for us. And then I have McCoy as well, but they're slowly teaching me, when you take a video, go slow. Because I sent her a bunch
Yeah.
last night from Party Slay, and she's like, just slow it down just a little bit, because I'm just like,
Yeah.
zoom. But it's a learning process, and we're all learning every day, and we're all figuring out where we are in this industry and how to put our voice out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Go
was
ahead,
just
Nick.
gonna add to that. Yeah. And speaking of like getting your voice out there, we were talking before the show about why you should never stop putting your voice out there and marketing and doing all of that
Yeah.
stuff. Um,
Yep.
Why do you feel that it's a never ending thing?
um, and we'll kind of back it up just so that people understand the context here.
Sure. Yeah.
When COVID hit 2 years ago, we're going on 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
And we all were stopped in our tracks. It was just like, you're not going any further than this stop sign. And one of the first things that happened that should not have happened, and I just share this as much as I possibly can, is that people thought they had to stop everything to save money, to save their business, rightfully so. But one of the biggest things that people stopped immediately was their marketing. And what ended up happening was those people became irrelevant over the course of the year because their voice wasn't being heard. And this is the one time when we're all shut down, we're not doing any events, we don't have beautiful photos to share, where our voices need to be heard. Not only did they need to be heard, they needed to be above and louder than everybody else. And I think a lot of people forgot about that and went into the mindset of, oh, I'll just stop marketing. That's going to save me a few $100s, a few $1,000s, a year, or, this is going to help me stay afloat. And when in reality, it actually hurt them.
Yeah. And as we were saying before the show, I know people that were in the industry before that are no longer in business here because they stopped. Yeah.
It's, I will share something that always freaks me out. If I do not post on Facebook, if I stay quiet for 5 days, I have no less than 5 or 6 people coming to me saying, hey, are you out there? Are you doing planning anymore? Right. 5 days. Yeah. That's all it takes of not posting for crazy? 5 days. And I will have people saying it to me. So if I don't post on just Facebook, what is that saying about you if they don't hear about you on all the other media outlets?
Yeah, it's really important to have a presence.
It's so important. It's so important. Like, and it's so funny because a lot of people think that marketing, is not that important, that they don't have to spend money on it. And you don't. If you have a really good reputation and you can get referral after referral, great, wonderful. But if you're starting out in this business, you're not going to have any referrals. So you've got to figure out how to get you from point A to point B. And then you can think about, decreasing marketing. And honestly, I'm at a point in my career, but it's only because I've been in it for over a decade, that my marketing is slowing down because I do have a presence in the industry. I do have a presence amongst clients who refer me constantly. But I still have key marketing tactics, like working with one really good online person like Party Slate, who I love. I work with Megan Ely from OFD Consulting, just to get my PR leads out there and my, weddings. Am I advertising on other little things? No, because I don't need to. But it really is about finding who you are and that niche and figuring out where you should spend your budget and where you shouldn't.
Absolutely.
I just want to real quick give a double up on the Megan Ely shout out. She's a fellow Virginian. And,
yes, she is.
Yeah. So, big shout out to Megan. I know she's Richmond. So she's about an hour and a half, or not right in Richmond, but about an hour and a half away from where I am. And we actually had her.
Whole group is absolutely wonderful. I rave about them to everybody. And they've done so well by us. So we're excited to be part of her collective.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. She's a wealth of knowledge, to say the least.
And she's a spitfire. Lord have mercy. That I have to really listen because she talks so fast, and everything that she says is filled with such wealth of information. But it's just like, I got to get all of them.
I know it's so funny when she speaks regularly, right? Even when the things that you need to do as a speaker, when you just know something so well. For her, it's like saying the ABCs when she's talking about what
Absolutely.
she's not. So,
And
but anyway, I
and
did just
that
want to give her a
actually,
shout out.
but to that point, that actually brings you right back to the branding process. When you can go up to a client and just be really relaxed in what you do and confident in what you do. When I go out to the grocery store, I'm kind of like, what do I want to do? When I tell somebody about my business, it is 100%. I know what I'm talking about, and this is how it's going to work. Are you my client? And I think a lot of times, especially with new people coming into this industry, is they don't have that confidence and they don't have that grace. And to be very honest with you, behind the scenes is where I'll lose my confidence or that grace, and I'll kind of just let my wackiness come out. But in front of people, you have to pull your shit together. And that's what's going to happen. You just got to let people know this is who you are. This is what you stand for. If you work with me, this is what's going to happen. And that is the brand.
Yeah.
With time, I've found that in the beginning when I was first starting, it's almost like you have imposter syndrome where it's just like,
yes,
man, am I even like, I have no business talking about this. But as you gain that experience, like you were talking about, it's incredible how I've watched myself personally, like just evolve as the person that like
and
almost
it gets
honestly
easier and easier.
It gets so much easier. It gets so much easier. And now I just, like you said, it just flows. And people are like, wow, he knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna book him because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Really cool.
Absolutely.
Well, we're getting ready to kind of close it out for the night. Jackie, I really appreciate the time. We want to be respectful of everyone's time tonight. If anyone has any questions in the chat or in the comments, go ahead and drop them in there now, so we can get them answered for you. But Jackie, I do really appreciate all your time tonight. It's been amazing, good wealth of knowledge and great reinforcement for a lot of stuff that we forget. I mean, honestly, in business, like you forget sometimes, like, hey, like things could be going so well that you almost forget, like, hey, I need to be marketing, or I should be getting my name out there, and I should be going to networking events. You almost forget to do those kinds of things when things are good.
It's very easy, especially when you're busy. It's the summer times is the hardest time to market for people because they're constantly going. And again, that's where the videos are really cool because it keeps you out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jackie, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, where is the best place to reach them? Show the folks some love out here.
My email. Everybody can reach me at my email. It's super easy. Just go onto my website, JacquelineWatsonEvents.com, and you will see a form there, and you can reach out. Most everybody in the industry knows my personal email, so feel free to email me anytime. But if you really have a question you want to talk to me, then I'm totally open to a phone call, and I love talking with people.
That's so cool. I love it's not a lost thing. It's a unique thing in this industry, right? It's lost in a lot of other industries, but in our industry, it's really unique. The willingness of other people to just pick up the phone, 11 years ago, I called a guy who lived 30 minutes away from me that I had never met before in my life that was a wedding DJ. And I had got his name from one of his friends. And I got on the phone with this random person 11 years ago, and he spent 2.5 hours talking to me about how to DJ a wedding. And then he let me shadow 2 weddings, and he's one of my best friends still. And we talk about it all the time.
That's how I broke into it. I told a planner I wanted to know what she was doing. She's like, come on, we'll show you. It's a very open industry where we can share and everything.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. My story was, unfortunately, he's not here tonight, but my boy, David Hanscom, love you, bro. He got me in. He took me in several years ago. So, I mean, it's awesome. It's a great community. We help each other. And that's honestly why we do this. That's why we run Wedding Business Growth, is to educate, to help each other, to grow together, and to better the industry.
Absolutely.
Awesome stuff. So I don't think we have any more questions. I dropped your website in the chat for everyone so they can find you. But again, Jackie, we really appreciate your time. Frank, you have any closing remarks or anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I do have one more question for Jackie, but do me a favor so David doesn't kill us. Do you have the little banner the one that shows the what was it, the fund, not the fund,
I'm picking one out. Yeah, yes, we're doing the pledge.
You know what I'm talking about. I
have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so it's a grant that David applied for wedding business growth, and it's a link where people, there it is.
There it is.
Yep. So if you want to show us some support, you can go to that link right there.
I will show you some support.
And it's super cool because all you need to do is write a little note about our show. And if enough notes come in that are positive, then we'll get some grant funding to be able to kind of expand what we're doing here. So Absolutely. Minimal ask for anybody. We've been showing it every week to everybody, viewers as well. So absolutely, check that out. So I just wanted that up there. Leave that up there for us while we do the last question too, Nick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So the last thing I wanted to ask you about was, and you started touching on it earlier, was how important it is to keep your marketing going, right? Mm-hmm. But we're in a really unique business where, and you mentioned it yourself, where you can kind of get yourself in so well within your own little wedding community that you almost don't feel the need to market, right? So tell people who are watching now that traditionally because back in a long time ago, right, it was like Yellow Pages. I have some friends that tell me they were like Yellow Pages and word of mouth. That's what they were.
Yep. I remember those days.
Right. So tell some of the viewers that are kind of more in that mode why it's what's the one big thing that they would see improvement from if they hopped into a more current marketing strategy.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, obviously, I think from my thought perspective, it's how much you make. Your marketing, your branding is a direct reflection of what your worth is. If you're still on the Yellow Pages and charging, $30,000, you're not going to get anything. But if you're on all the right markets and in with the right people, then you can charge that,
Yeah.
I think that's my one biggest thing is your marketing and your branding, sell your worth.
That's great, and that's really interesting too, because I think about in the DJ world, I know DJs that are incredibly more talented, but they use vinyl, right? Oh. And because they give off a visual that is different than a computer, which is what most people are expecting nowadays, then people just think they're outdated when they're probably more current than most of us.
Yep.
And so it is, you're right. I love that. So it's just that perspective that people have of you. If they only find you here, then they're going to think that you're outdated.
And that's how I feel about the video stuff too, is there's so many videographers that are so technically gifted at what they do, and their videos are gorgeous, but it doesn't align with the rest of their brand.
Their website is
their 90s. I'm like, dude, your videos are beautiful 4K cinematic videos, and your website looks like something out of 1975 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the thing with branding. That's exactly it. It's not just one thing. It's multiple things, and it's everything from your color palette on your website, your business cards, everything you do. It's all going to jive. It's all going to work together. And if it's clunky and all over the place, what's that saying about you?
Big shout to someone who does that in our local market here. His name's Colin Goodman. Shout out to him. He does video, and he's mastered the brand. If you look at his site, everything flows. The colors of the video flow with the website, and the website flows with. And
Isn't it beautiful? It's harmonious.
It's beautiful,
it's harmonious.
And he is able to charge $5,000 a video, and no one blinks an eye because it's dude, I know what I'm doing. My brand's on point, and if this is what you want, come get it. So
that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that was my last one. Sorry, I had to get that in.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Repeating it. I was repeating it in my head as we were talking through everything because I heard it and I was like,
I was going to say, wait a minute. I thought the link was the first question. I'm like, there's really not a link.
No, that was it. All right, well, I'm done. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I'm sorry I cut you off. I just wanted to say again, Jackie, thanks for your time. It's been awesome and refreshing. I definitely need to go back through and work on my brand job, my vibe, polish my vibe, as the kids say.
Every year you gotta do it.
Yep. But yeah, Frank, or I mean, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think this was a great conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. Check out Jackie at JacquelineWatsonEvents.com for sure. Take a second and leave us a note at the link above.
Above.
Yeah, see, thank you. Yeah. And Jay, if you're still watching, man, holla. We love you here at Wedding Business
Jay. Tell Jay I said hi.
Right. We had him on a couple of weeks ago. It's so fun to catch up with them just personally.
Oh my gosh. The hollers are amazing.
Yeah.
It's so funny because every time I see them, I want to yell, holla!
We do every time.
I love it.
That was the second time we had him on and we called it the Holla Back episode. So
that's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good.
Yeah, no, they're amazing.
They're
absolutely amazing.
Nick, do you by any chance know who's next week? Who we're having on next week?
Okay.
This is what we need David for.
I know.
And when he's not here, we just don't know.
I know. I'm highly disappointed that David didn't join us today.
Ooh.
So now he's gonna have to have me back because he chose not to be here.
we will definitely be having you back on for sure. Jay Holla's still here. Holla. Good stuff.
We love you, Jay.
Yeah. You know what? If Clubhouse did one thing, it allowed me to meet so many amazing people.
Right. And there is the power of marketing.
Yep.
Right there. Right there. You cannot get a better marketing education than Clubhouse itself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was on it way too much, hosting too many rooms for a while.
Well, I was too, and because I was talking like, oh gosh, I was probably talking 3 or 4 times a week, and then I'm like, okay, I got to start. There are other things that I got to start doing.
Yeah. No, I mean, once the world kicked back in, it was like Clubhouse for our industry changed. But for those like 4, 5, 6 months, it was every single day you were listening.
That's what kept us going.
Absolutely.
Honestly, if we look at it, Clubhouse really did pull the industry together, and we were able to not just share our knowledge, but discuss our issues and our fears and our happiness and our wins. And it was just such a powerful tool during COVID that I think it will continue to be that. But I think that it also taught people that we're on the same page. We're all in the same boat. Doesn't matter who you are or what you charge. We are all affected the same way. And we all either need to come together and help each other get through this, or we fall by the wayside.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I got to make some amazing industry relationships that went past that, and I can now call friends, like real friends. I mean, me and David crossed paths there. That's how I met David,
was Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And then that's what led me to Wedding Business Growth, which then allowed me to meet Nick too. I mean, I have a great relationship with Fausto, right? And I know everybody knows Fausto. Love Fausto, right? I got to meet, I actually did a wedding in Maryland, my first out-of-state wedding, because I'm not like an out-of-state guy. And so I did my first out-of-state wedding last year, and the photographer there met me on Clubhouse. And she said, I saw your name pop up in the email, and I thought to myself, is this going to be Frank from Clubhouse? And then it was Frank from Clubhouse when I got there. So she was like floored that it was me. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's such a cool vibe. I hope it like cycles back every off season a little bit,
I absolutely think it will. Yeah.
So
for sure.
Cool. All right. Well,
thank
Nick,
you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I had a blast.
Thank you.
Super
Maybe
fun,
we don't need
definitely,
David
like you said,
anymore. Maybe it's just us.
David's the goat.
David's gonna be like, what?
He's like, I started this. What are you talking about? No, Jackie, we'll definitely have to have you back on when David's around too, and for sure we'll have some better conversation, even more conversation. So we appreciate you being on. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone.
Peace.
Do something awesome this week. Have fun. Keep doing great stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.